In this video, I'll introduce several methods for randomizing colors from a color lamp. So we first randomize colors with a for each loop. Let's bring a geometry node and drop a box. Change the node name to make sure which is which. I'm going to break this box into fragments using a Voronoi fracture node and points from volume node. Set up the parameters as you like. Okay, next start a loop. Press tab, type for each, and select for each point node. Select primitives in the piece element choices in the block end node. Then, in the block begin node, press create meta import node, got a metadata node here. Set the piece attribute to name. Now we can extract one fragment at the for each begin. I bring the match size node after it, but it is okay without this. This node works to arrange the height, width, and depth, so I like it. The next node is pack. Insert it between the match size and for each end. It's a key to this tutorial. Remember what I explained in my previous tutorial? So we are gonna use a piece attribute later to randomize object colors. This means each object needs to have one point in itself. The pack node allows this. So let's bring a copy to points node. Now we need base points, get a grid node. Bring an attribute adjust integer node and wire it to the grid. This node is a new attribute variant to points of the grid. Setting min and max values, it scatters the integer numbers from the range to the points. Go to the copy to points node and turn on piece attribute, set it to variant. Go back to the attribute adjust integer node. We have 7 shapes of fragments, so the min value is 0 and the max value is 6. Good. Connect and unpack and null nodes in advance. Okay, start randomize objects colors from my color lamp. Bring an attribute randomize node and the color node. Set up them. In the attribute randomize, the attribute name is piece, the distribution is uniform, discrete, and the dimensions is 1. Type this H script in the left max value box. In my case, it's endpoints, copy to points 1. Copy the script to paste it later. In the color node, the color type is ramp from attribute. The attribute is piece, and the max value of range should be endpoint script, or paste relative references from the copy to points node. Okay, set the color you like. Go to unpack node and type CD in the transfer attribute box to take over the color information. That's all for using for each loop node. This method is useful, for example, when you create fragments broken by an explosion. Okay, let's move on to instancing of Solaris. To begin with, creating points on the obj level. Bring a geometry node and name it to make it easier. Get inside of geometry node and bring a grid. Drop a null node for convenience. Set up for random colors. It's the same process as what we did before, so I skipped to explain. Bring an add node to delete primitives of the grid. Turn on delete geometry but keep the points. We will use an index attribute later, so bring an attribute randomize node and have the index. The attribute name is index. Distribution is uniform discrete and the dimension is 1. Before using the points we set up, let's see how Solaris is different from subs. Bring a sub import node and follow the fragments we created at the beginning. In the subpath box, type the path. Change the tab layer style to copy sub layer into new active layer. Let's change the name to be easier. This name becomes geometry path. Bring a material library node and connect to it. Turn on the assigned to geometry and specify the path of the target object. Dive into the material library node and drop a karma material builder node. Well, what's happening? All the fragments turn white. This is because here, the setting of the base color in the material X standard surface. Let's bring a geometry color node to keep the original color from the sub level. Connect it to the input base color. Good job! We can get back the original colors and apply material at the loop level. If you want to change the color scheme, combine it with multiply or other nodes. Bring a multiply node and plug it between the geometry color and the standard surface node. Get a constant node and set the constant type as color. Choose a color that you want to mix. Here it is. Okay, next step. We are going to use a sub-create node and randomize object colors in Solaris. The sub-create node here, name is spheres. Let's dive into this node, bring a sphere. Its level inside the sub-create node is the same as our sub-level. Let's copy this sphere onto the points of a grid. Bring a copied points node and a grid node. Scale a sphere size a bit. In the copied points node, turn on pack and instance. I'm sure you're getting used to it, but again, bring an attribute randomize node and let's set up randomizing colors from a color lamp. The attribute name is piece, the distribution is uniform discrete, and the dimension is 1. And type this H script in the max value box. So this case sets endpoints copy to points 1. Bring a color node. The color type is ramp from attribute and the attribute is piece. in the max value of range based endpoint script. When you change the color, the spheres are applied. Drop a null node for convenience. Insert an unpack node type CD in the transfer attribute box to give its color information. That's all in this subcreate node. Go up to the up level. Bring a material library. Turn assign to geometry on. The geometry path is spheres in my case. Get inside and bring a karma material builder node and dive in it. Bring a geometry color node and plug it into the base color input. Okay, we made it. Finally, here we are. I prepare sphere, cube, and torus as an instance object this time. Connect each to a reference node. Adjust the size. I scale them by 0.5. Bring an instancer node. First, we will do instancing using only sphere. Change the location source in the target point section to external sub. Change the prototype index in the option of prototype sections to index attribute. The default setting is random. It still have an error. Well, I noticed my mistake. We have to connect the wire to the second input. Sorry. Okay, so we could get rid of the error, but it has a warning now. This is because the number of indexes is not correct. Let's go back to the base points. Max value in attribute randomize is temporarily set back to 0. Go back to the stage, the warning is gone. Fix the screen in the view of the instancer node and change the max value of attribute randomize. Let's try 4. We can see the number of spheres has been reduced. Release the balloon to unpin the same view and examine the index attribute. Set the visualizer. It's hard to see, but numbers from 0 to 4 are randomly placed on the points. Turn off the marker. Since the index of spheres is 0, setting max value to 0 will place the sphere on all points. Set the material. Bring a material library node. Turn on assign to geometry. The geometry path is from the instancer node. Get inside and bring a karma material builder node and dive in it. Bring a geometry color node and plug it into base color input. Okay, we are done with this. The next method is to set the point and color in the instancer node. Bring an instancer. The location source in the target point section is internal sub. Sorry, I made a mistake again and it has an error. Build up the inside. Bring a grid and connect to the add node. Turn delete geometry but keep the points on. Build the attribute randomize and color nodes as usual. I select pink this time. Again, it's hard to see, so use a sphere and copy it onto the points to make the color easier to see. Yeah, it's just a visualizer. Okay. Since there's only one prototype object in this case, we don't set the index attribute. Go back to the stage level. I realized that I had connected the second input by mistake. The sphere has gotten larger. Go back and display the null node. Here it is. Copy the material library we made on the left. Change the geometry path to the above node. In this case, it's instantial 2. Okay. Finally, I'll introduce a method using color information prepared at the top level by using the 3 prototype objects at the top level. Let's merge the 3, sphere, cube, and towers. Connect it to the instantial node. Change the location source in the target point section to external SOP. In the space of SOP path, specify the target point at the obj level. Set the index attribute. Change the prototype index in the option of prototype section to index attribute. Return to attribute randomize node, which has the index attribute, and set max value to 2. This allows us to display 3 different prototypes without creating any empty points. Great. Set the material as usual. Okay, that's all. Thank you for watching.